we really have to get to this place of saying, okay, are you feeling shame because you violated your values, or is it because you feel rejection from others? And if it's because you fear rejection from others, act opposite to it. Feel the shame and do it anyway. There was the title of a book still out, I think, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. It's a great title because it really captures the essence of that. And there's increasingly more data to support that that's the way to do it. If the latter, then feel the shame and do it anyway. Okay, the art of mastery. When you feel that your opinion doesn't matter, express your opinion in a thoughtful way. When you feel belittled or disrespected, ask the other person to treat you respectfully. When you feel that others judge you harshly, kindly stand up for your beliefs and values without invalidating the other person's. One of the problems that many of our clients have, though, and I've tried to put it in the language here, is that because they are in so much pain, and because this is sort of awkward for them, because they're not as graceful, it's like learning to walk, as many of us did, they're just learning to walk, so they're sort of awkward with it, is that when they start asserting themselves, they do it very awkwardly, and they push other people away, you know, and they set a boundary, and it gets people angry because the way they do it, you know. And it's coming from a good place, but there's an art, a technique to learning how to do it and doing it in a way that doesn't push other people away. But when we're treating shame-based trauma, it really is learning that skill to be able to gently assert yourself without pushing someone away out of pain. Okay, what doesn't work? Cheerleading self-talk. You don't believe it even as you are telling yourself how great you are. And I won't go into it, but I would encourage you, if you have any interest in this, to look up self-validation theory. There's gaining quite a bit of support behind this, which is that if you don't believe what you're telling yourself, it doesn't have much of an effect. You can write it on the mirror all day long, and if you don't believe it, it's not going to work. And in fact, it can actually be invalidating. Today's going to be the best day of my life. I mean, it does sort of feel good to see that. But if you really don't believe it, and then the day is awful, it really starts to fall apart, right? All right. Behavior is the key to learning to self-validate. You push through the feeling and you act opposite to it. When you observe yourself acting on your own passions and dreams, it changes how you feel and think. So encouraging them, first of all, to be able to find a space for joy, regulate the negative emotions, and get to the place where they can actually act on their dreams. Validation seeking destroys relationships. This is an important aspect for us to work with our clients on, because when we're on that treadmill of seeking validation and we need to tell everyone around us how hurt the other person made us, none of us do that, do we? I remember, I never went through ESK, but I've been told that Werner Erhard, one of the things that he used to say was that when you get hurt, who's the first person that you go to about it? And it's everyone else other than the person who actually hurt you, right? But it's this idea of needing someone to validate. Anytime things have gone wrong on the job, any of you who are managers, have run a treatment center, I can tell you, everyone starts going around and talking about it with each other, right? And they need that validation of, this is not working out, this is what's going wrong, do you support my opinion? They're looking for the validation outside of themselves. It's not okay for them to feel that things were not happening well and validate that and let that be. They need to seek it from outside. And ultimately, when you do that with folks, you end up wearing them out. And some of our more wounded clients, their relationships, they're serial relationships. They have relationships, they wear them out, and they move on to someone else. And so you'll find their life goes from group of friends to group of friends to group of friends, because nobody can be there and give that much validation over time, and it wears them and breaks the relationship. Constantly fishing for praise about your perceived accomplishments, and talk at length about how frustrated, belittled, and underutilized you are. And there are many other ways in which we can seek validation, but it's an important point to really help our clients understand that when you engage in that kind of behavior, you push other people away. Nobody can be there for you that much. They often say things like, well, nobody's supporting me, or you're not there for me. And I would encourage you to really look at that statement, because oftentimes what it is they're saying they're not supporting my addiction, if you will, to validation. And it's also a sign of, I can't validate myself, therefore I have to have other people validate me. In the context of, I think it's enormously important that when we're changing our lives, that we surround ourselves with people who validate us, that we have a support system. All of those things are clearly very important, whether it's an addiction or mental health, that you have people around you, but you cannot be solely dependent on that. The objective is really learning to begin to develop the ability to self-validate.